and the All Indiana Podcast Network. This is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Jenkins, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 Podcast for Monday, December 30th.
Looking for ways to save on your energy bills? AES Indiana has you covered. From smart thermostats to home energy assessments, we offer simple solutions to keep your home comfortable and your costs down. AES can help you save money and energy with kits, tips, rebates, and more. Visit aesindiana.com/ways to save to learn more about how we can help you save money. AES Indiana, helping you discover real ways to save.
We begin with some solemn news this morning, the passing of the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. The Carter Center released a statement saying the former president died peacefully, surrounded by family at his home in Plains, Georgia. It's a place where he and his wife spent most of their lives. Carter, who served one term as president, transitioned from being a little-known Georgia governor to becoming a world-renowned humanitarian after his time in the White House. One of Carter's most well-known projects was Habitat for Humanity, a program that's had a huge impact on a lot of Hoosiers. News 8's Phil Sanchez reports.
When the house was finished and we delivered a Bible and keys to their new house, and we haven't all cried. In fact, I think that's the times in my life when I have wept more than any other for excitement and for gratification that I was privileged, along with my wife, to participate in such a great project.
President Carter and his wife started the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Work Project with Habitat for Humanity over 35 years ago. He and his wife worked hands-on with volunteers building houses all around the world. In 2018, President Carter brought the project to Indiana, building and improving 41 homes in Mishawaka and South Bend.
Always was very front and center with talking with the home buyers as well as their children. And then as he's starting to walk away, he turns around and he goes, "Now get back to work." So that very much was former President Carter's attitude. He was a servant leader.
The Carters didn't just show up to the work site. Volunteers actually recall them arriving with tool belts on and hammers in hand, ready to work alongside them.
But, he's in his 90s, and so he's out there and they're volunteering when he has a status level that he could have easily just been a face. He could have easily just done interviews. He could have easily just sort of lent his name and gone back and, had lunch at a hotel, right? And so while his name recognition was incredibly high, he was incredibly approachable.
President Carter is leaving behind his humanitarian work, but Habitat for Humanity will continue to honor his legacy. I'm Phil Sanchez for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
The former president leaves behind a remarkable legacy defined by kindness and compassion. During his time in office, Carter focused on ending segregation, improving public health, and expanding American influence abroad. We spoke with professors at IU about the lasting impact of his work. This is what two professors at IU had to say.
With Carter, it's important to understand he was both somebody that was trying to think about the future and grapple with how America's role had changed, right, in his time, right, which we are doing right now. We're trying to figure out what is the role of the United States in the world.
He really taught us that basically as you age, you don't stop living and you don't stop serving. And so I think it was very, very impressive and inspiring to see him. He was just getting warmed up when he was president. He really took off and became such an energetic force, even in his 80s and 90s. And it shows you're never too old. You're never too anything to have an impact on this world.
You just heard from Raymond Habersky and Jody Madera. Both of them say that Carter's story will continue to inspire discussions in their classrooms. While reactions from Carter's peers are also pouring out this morning, President-elect Trump saying this on Truth Social. The challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Former President Barack Obama also shared his thoughts, saying, President Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. Michelle and I send our thoughts and prayers to the Carter family and everyone who loved and learned from this remarkable man. On to a big national news headline we've been following. The final death toll from the plane crash in South Korea stands at 179, with only 2 survivors. According to the local fire service, those 2 individuals are crew members who are now in the hospital. Officials say the aircraft skidded down the runway at Muan International Airport on its belly before bursting into flames. Right now, it is still unclear what exactly went wrong, but officials say the pilot made a mayday call shortly after the control tower warned about birds in the area. Some local fire officials believe the flight's landing gear may have malfunctioned. Let's talk sports. In order to make it to the playoffs, the Colts needed a win yesterday against the Giants in New York. But with quarterback Anthony Richardson out, that was a tough task. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco stepped in for the Colts last night. The Giants have not won a single home game all season, but something was different last night, keeping the Colts on edge. In the fourth quarter, Flacco connected with Alec Pierce for a 13-yard touchdown, but that was not enough for a win. The Giants take the victory 45-33. When it comes to the weather, it will be a bit of a gloomy day today, but better than the weekend. Storm Track 8 says you can expect clouds for most of the morning and afternoon, and things are also going to get a bit chillier as we enter the new year. Meteorologist Marcus Bailey has your News 8 Daily 8 forecast.
As we bring in the new year, winter back in a big way. If there's any hang up that we're monitoring here for the day today, it's fog, which should not be a surprise. Statewide, everybody received at least an inch of rainfall over the weekend. It was a lot. Up in northern Indiana is where we're kind of dealing with the fog issues right now. We may have a few spots in far east central Indiana, say around Winchester and Richmond. Lafayette, you may be seeing a little bit of fog here this morning as well. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling over the next few hours, that there could be some brief fog formation out there here for this morning. In terms of visibility in the city, we're okay. East side, Carmel, downtown, northwest side, Cicero, and down in Whiteland in Johnson County, no problems here for this morning. And yeah, it's a little cooler this morning, but it's still well above average in terms of where we should be seeing our high temperatures, which normal high for this time of year is typically around 37. We're already at 41 here in Indy. Winds have really dialed back. We had peak wind gusts yesterday, late in the afternoon, nearly 50 miles per hour. Satellite and radar, again, as I just mentioned, we're in between systems. Here comes moving out is the weekend system up into Canada. Our next system is out in the Central Plains and will be set to arrive as early as later tonight. I've got highs into the upper 40s later on for the afternoon, so still not bad for this time of year, but quite active starting later tonight. Rain and then potentially flipping to snow on Tuesday. A much, much colder start to the new year on Wednesday. And we are eyeing a potential weekend system here. Rain, maybe some snow for parts of our state. We'll time that out in my Storm Track 8 forecast coming your way in just a few minutes.
To get a peek at Marcus Bailey's full forecast, just head over to wishtv.com. And don't forget, conditions will change throughout the day, so to make sure you have the most up-to-date forecast, download the Wish TV Storm Track 8 app. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 podcast for Monday, December 30th. I'm Jeremy Jenkins for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.